model that I use. So artificial intelligence is kind of an all-encompassing idea which basically allows machines to mimic human behaviour. And you could argue, I mean, particularly in our industry where there's a lot of automation of sort of marketing processes, especially workflows, you can't really go to any kind of marketing tech event where people are not kind of throwing the terms. Well, you can't go to any marketing tech event at all at the moment, but when you could, a lot of the brands and vendors in the space are basically promoting kind of AI tools, and sometimes that's a little bit tenuous when you're just talking about kind of automating a human process. So machine learning is a little bit more specific. So it's effectively a subset of AI where the machine, the computer, whatever's doing the work, can kind of improve with experience. So you're not specifically telling it what to do, or you're not replicating steps from the real world. And then when you go a bit beyond that, you get into deep learning, which is a subset of that, which is a lot more advanced, and I'm going to kind of cover that in a little bit as well. So if you ever need to kind of contextualise these concepts, I always find that quite a useful way to do that. So if you put this on a scale of accuracy versus explainability, kind of things shift a little bit. So when we were building predictive models, we had to be very selective around what kind of models we chose, because you get this concept of a kind of a black box, and the kind of further to the right you go, the harder you can explain things, the less trust there is amongst the sort of people using the tool, and the customers that are kind of whose data is being put into these tools as well. Particularly in our industry, in terms of marketing tech, there's GDPR and things like people being able to make subject access requests to ask what the data is being used for and how it's being used. It's a much harder thing to do if you're explaining you're putting things into these much more advanced models. So we had to find a balance of picking a model that was easy to explain but gave a degree of accuracy that customers were happy with. So it kind of led us to being somewhere around the middle of this chart, effectively.
And what we were keen to understand was, could we replace the humans who were doing that piece of work with a machine? And of course the answer was yes. And was that actually AI and machine learning? And we implemented a knowledge graph, and it really helped with that matching. But I was never quite convinced that we were really doing machine learning or AI. All we had done was automate a manual process of data, and felt like we were taking that first step. And would you agree that there is a sort of preliminary step, or was that in fact machine learning under your definition?
I think there often is a preliminary step, because you've kind of got to bring people along with you. And I think there is a lot of confusion around the distinction between pure automation, which has been happening way before, some of these concepts were kind of in the sort of general consciousness, if that makes sense. Simple workflows in products have been around for quite a long time, haven't they? So, and I think people kind of probably use that a bit disingenuously, that they can automate something and suddenly they're sticking an AI label on it because it sounds good and it's the kind of flavour of the moment. But it can certainly help open up the discussions around just that. That's often a good step in the journey, even if you can share with people that it's not pure machine learning. But it certainly is. It's almost like the evolution of the sort of technology in itself is sort of following that same route, but probably a bit quicker.
With hindsight, is there anything you would have done differently?
What I mentioned before, where we said we probably tried to do too much too early when we first presented it, I think we knew deep down that we should have been a bit start smaller and kind of build on that. I think we probably left it too long being a data insights project piece of work. There was such a lot of nervousness around kind of making it a product and the sort of trust within the business before we started tackling it as a product, that rather than just kind of test the idea out, we kind of probably ran too many non-product projects using the models. So I personally would have liked to have done a bit more kind of testing and proof of concept work and things like that early on, because we would have got to the same conclusion probably about 6 to 8 months sooner.